Hey folks, I'm going to do a little video on starting seeds. Now is a perfect time. Spring's around the corner. And I'm just going to go through and sort of demystify starting seeds and the different types of seeds you can start and the timing and just how to do it. So basically you have your cold hardy plants and your non-cold hardy plants. And in general, if you are going to start seeds before you put them out, you want to keep them indoors to give them a little head start. Now you don't have to do that with a lot of plants like beets and even like kale, things that you can grow throughout the season. You can just plant them right in the ground. But things like tomatoes or peppers, they need to have a head start indoors. So today I'm starting my tomatoes and peppers. It's March 15th. It's an early spring this year. So basically the hot weather plants like eggplant, tomatoes, and peppers, you want to start about 6 to 8 weeks before you're going to put them in the ground. And so I'm betting this year around May 15th might be a good time to put them out because it's an early spring. Usually I would wait till June 1st because I'm zone 4 or 5. That means the zones mean basically it's your climate zone. So zone 4 is kind of cold. And usually June 1st is the last frost date. So anyway, you basically work backwards from the last frost date, and so for example, if your last frost date is May 15th, like generally your last frost date, you know, it's a gamble, then you start 6 to 8 weeks before that, starting your tomatoes and peppers. So here is an example of a seed tray that I've been using for a number of years, and I'll show you the two different parts. Actually, it's one of these guys, and then underneath is a tray to like catch the water, so when I water it, it's not going to go all over the ground. So you just go out and you can either buy one of these guys. This has lasted me like 4 or 5 years and it's still going to last me a while, so I hate buying plastic, but it lasts a long time. Or you can use something, you know, that you have lying around. You can even use egg cartons. And you just put potting soil in there, and you want to make sure when you press down that it's not too firm. But it also it's not too loose either, so there's not a lot of air. So I'll give you an example. I've got a seed tray here, and when you put in the potting soil, you want to kind of press it down. And so here's an example of see that one just, you know, obviously needs more soil because I press it down and it went really far down. But these ones, they're nice and tight. So you don't want to have it too tight because then the plant's roots can't get enough oxygen. But once you've filled up your tray and, you know, moderately, you know, just touched them all. In a greenhouse or on a farm, you're not going to spend that much time being fussy, but if you're growing your own food, you have time to just check each cell. And then what I do is I press my fingers in, and usually the rule is that the size of the seed or the thickness of the seed is about how far you press down. So in each cell you kind of press down. For tomato seeds and pepper seeds, they're really thin. I don't know if you can see that. They're really thin seeds. So you only gently press down. And so I have mine labeled here on the end. You can see I have like red pepper, jalapeno. You can do it with duct tape too. That was last year's tag, just so you know which one's which. And then after you're done, you know, seeding them all and labeling them all, then you just cover it up with a thin layer of soil and kind of pack that down. And you should get like a nice spray bottle, or you can get a nice spray bottle. I generally spray the seeds before I put that layer of soil on. And oh yeah, I should mention, before you begin, you want to I have this big tub that's filled, you can kind of see it's filled with potting soil. And you want to have it, when you're squeezing the soil, you don't want water to come out, but you want to have it pretty moist, just not moist enough for water to come out. So, you know, you pack it in moist, you indent it, you put the seeds on. You know, for bigger seeds, you have a more indentation because they need to be a little bit deeper. And then you cover it with soil, and then you put on, you can just like, you don't have to have these tray toppers. You can use plastic wrap. You can use like cardboard. Some years, I mean, I don't even use them. You know, it's nice to have something clear, because then once the plants do germinate, meaning when they sprout, they need light right away, or else they'll become very leggy. So I like having these, this or plastic wrap or something, so they can get light right when they germinate. So what'll happen is that some seeds will germinate before others in the same tray or whatever you have, egg containers. And then, you know, if you have cardboard on top of it, then, or like something that doesn't have, that doesn't let light in, then some of them will die. So yeah, try to do that. Either, you know, if you don't have one of these, it's okay. But you just want to keep it really moist. And for tomatoes and peppers, you want to keep them very warm while you're germinating them. So you can do that with like a seedling heating mat underneath. I got one for like $20 at the yard sale. But you can also instead, there's other ways to do it. You know, obviously if you have like a warm spot in your house, you can put them in a warm spot in your house. Just keep them moist and warm for the time that it takes for them to germinate. Other people I've seen put, you know, put the seeds on a wet paper towel, put it in a plastic Ziploc bag, and put that somewhere warm until you see them barely sprouting, and then you put them in the container. So that's another way to do it. There's a lot of ways to keep the seeds moist and warm. You'll notice I put actually like 3 of these pepper seeds in a cell, which I would never put more than 2 usually, but I'm not sure about these pepper seeds because I'm pretty sure they're gonna do okay. But I saved them from last year, and I've never saved the red pepper seeds before, so I'm just kind of nervous that I didn't do it right. But really, the red pepper seeds, when you save them, they're so easy. You just basically, I don't think they have to be fermented or anything. You just kind of put them, dry them out. So we'll see if that works as an experiment. But most of the time, what you have is, if you order from, here's the Victory Seeds, is a good place to order from right now. And it tells you all the things that you need to know about planting them, the planting depth, the planting timing. If you order from like Fedco, it doesn't have all that information, but you can look it up. So basically, the cherry or the tomatoes and the peppers and the eggplant, and they're called nightshades, solanaceae, and they need to be planted sort of a little bit earlier. Now, like I said, those type of plants need to have it warmer, but there's other seeds that I planted yesterday. These are the mustards or the brassicas. Ignore the bottom labels, that's from last year. So like kale, actually kale could have been planted a while ago, kohlrabi, I can't read that because it's backwards, but broccoli, oh yeah, broccoli. So you want to get, when you plant the broccoli in the spring, you want to get a heat tolerant broccoli like Bay Meadows. And so for those brassicas, they actually, I don't have them on a heating pad because their germination temperature is lower. So you don't need to heat them up. So yeah, it's super simple. You know, just order your seeds, get the potting soil containers, maybe the toppers. Like I said, there's a lot of ways to do it. You don't even necessarily have to have potting soil. You can just use finished compost. Maybe with some sand added or sawdust or something to fluff it up a bit, or vermiculite. Yeah, it's pretty simple. And let me know if you have any questions or, you know, specific questions on specific plants. I'm not an expert, but I've just done my own garden for a few years, and I've had some successes and failures, so I like to spread the knowledge. Oh yeah, one thing I should say is that what is important is the cell size that you plant them in. So you notice the cell sizes I have are kind of small, so by the time, you know, if the plant grows up sort of out, gets too big for its container, then I'm going to have to transplant them to a bigger container, but my other containers are, you know, an hour away, and I just had these laying around. So I will have to transplant the seedlings, and you will too if you have 2 different size containers. A lot of people, to get around this, what they'll do is they'll just have like a big, you can actually use just like a tray like this, or you know, just some recyclable container, and just put some holes in the bottom, fill it with potting soil, and then you make little trenches, tiny little trenches, and then you put the seeds in that trench, label them on the end, and then you can see which seeds came up and you can just transplant the ones that came up to bigger cells. So, you know, the disadvantage of what I did is that I probably wasted some soil, and maybe some seeds. But yeah, it's just how I've been doing it for a few years. But yeah, anyway, let me know if you have questions, and especially on starting a garden, you know, that I'll do a video on that later in the season. If you have no garden at your house, it's actually pretty darn simple to start a garden, even if you don't have good soil in your backyard. There's a lot of different methods you can use, so let me know and I can help you with that.